My dreams are nightmares. How can I sleep? You got the gun against me.
What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Wicked Cool Toys All Elite Wrestling Unrivaled Collection, Brandi Rhodes. And so here we have Brandi Rhodes posing out of the packaging. Now, unfortunately, Brandi here does not come with any accessories. We don't get an alternate pair of fists. We don't get anything with Brandi, so that is a little bit unfortunate. So, with that out of the way, guys, let's actually take a closer look at Brandi Rhodes. And so here we have a closer look at Brandi Rhodes, and I have to say that Wicked Cool Toys has done a pretty good job of the likeness to Brandi. Now, unfortunately, just like with everything we've had a look at, the paint kind of does kill this figure. Now, I will say that mine probably has the worst paint apps in the face out of all the figures, only because her face got slightly skewed to the right. Now, it is really noticeable because you can see part of her mouth right here has no paint. Then we have a huge piece of paint right here going on the right side, and her eyes even seem a little bit off to the side. That is really unfortunate because Brandi is probably the hardest one to find out of the entire case. So getting hold of another Brandi with better head paint, I don't think I'm going to get any luck with that, unfortunately. So as far as the head goes, it's a really nice sculpt, but I do feel like the head is just a little bit too small. I think compared to her body, Brandi Rhodes needed a head that's just a little bit bigger. But it does work for Brandi, and the sculpt is there, just like with everything else. They just need to fine-tune the paint. Whenever you use this printing that they have on the face, there are chances that it will go off to the side like mine, so that is always a risk with every figure like this. I do like the way they did her hair. Her hair is a really nice piece. You can see they did mold it in black, and then they did add some purple highlights to it, so that does look good. And the purple highlights even translate to the back. Now, I do think that that isn't supposed to be like that. I feel like it's only supposed to be right here on the top part of her hair, and then the surrounding area should be black. And what this is basically overspray, so they just sprayed it once and called it a day. You can see the tip right here is also painted, so really good face paint. That it's good face paint, don't get me wrong. It's just that on mine, it's off to one side. If it was more centered, it'd be perfect. But the hair looks really nice. Now, let's actually take a look at the body really fast. Now, I do applaud Wicked Cool Toys for sculpting a torso for Brandi here. I know that they do plan on releasing other females in the line, but giving Brandi a unique torso is a good first step. It is a little odd that we do have this really nice sculpted upper torso right here, and everything on her is nicely sculpted, and it's done exceptionally well. But then we get to the arms and to the mid-torso right here, and this is just painted on detail, especially right here on the arms. I would have liked it if that was actually sculpted detail, because you know, if it's going to be the only Brandi figure we get, it would have been nice if they had actually molded all this just specifically for Brandi. Again, it is a little bit unfortunate that we get some really nice sculpt work right here in her upper torso, and then when we get to her lower and middle torso, we really don't get that many sculpted details. The paint is really nice. It continues on really perfectly, so I do like that. Her, can you really call them shorts? Her lower tights here do look really nice. Now, again, we could have had some sculpted detail because we have some raised detail here, and everything right here is just painted on, which is a little bit unfortunate. I think this figure would have done much better if everything right here was sculpted instead of just painted on. Don't get me wrong, it still looks really, really nice, but I would have liked to see a little more sculpt work, especially right here in her trunks. Now, I do have a problem with the skin tone on her legs. Now, that could be the fact that she's wearing stockings, but if you remember the costume she was wearing like costuming all over her body. This wasn't skin tone. It was actually like a mesh suit that she was wearing. So, wouldn't it make sense if everything matched, because she wore like that mesh suit underneath this? So yeah, that's pretty obvious that skin tones do not match, and it's easy to know why right here. This is basically white plastic painted, so that's why this doesn't match this. And this, I believe that should be, yeah, that's just molded in a different color, which is a little bit disappointing. Something that this figure does have is really nice boots. I really do love the boots here. Now, I do think that they kind of missed the mark on the thigh swivel. They could have actually hidden it right here and kept this one solid piece, and then just swivel right here above the knee where the boot meets the thigh. But really do like the detailing on the boots, and it's not out of the realm of possibility to add cuts to the sculpt, so that's why it's a little confusing why they just didn't sculpt all the way down to the thigh, then cut it off right there at the boot. Really like the boots though, and my only complaint about the boots is high heels. High heels make figures really, really hard to stand, and Brandi here is no exception. Brandi does have a tough time standing. You can get her to stand, but you will be struggling with it just a little bit. So overall, I think they did a really good job with Brandi. It's just paint and sculpted detail could have been a little bit better. Overall, still really like the way this figure came out. So what we're going to do now is actually get her compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we do have Brandi posed next to an Ultimate Edition's Brock Lesnar and Elite CM Punk. Here we have Brandi Rhodes posed next to an Ultimate Edition's Ronda Rousey and an Elite Paige. And finally, here we have Brandi Rhodes posed next to her husband, Cody Rhodes. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Brandi's articulation. Now, she does have the same articulation for the most part. There are some differences in her. So she does have a ball joint here in the head, which does look up and down really nicely. We do get some slight head tilt, which is better than every figure we've had a look at so far. Does turn left and right, no problem. It would hinge down if it wasn't for her hair being in the way, and it actually hinges up better than it hinges down, which is surprising seeing how she has long hair. Arms do a full 360, no problems there. They do go out to the side, better than horizontal, so that's really good movement there. We do have a bicep swivel, which works no problem. We have double bend here at the elbow. Really nice there. That's something we don't really see much in female figures, so I really appreciate that. She has a swivel and really stiff hinge here at the wrist, but I did get it to work. I actually had to heat that up for it to move around like that, so do be aware of that. So she does have a ball joint here in the torso. It does go back about that far, goes forward about that far, goes to the side, goes to the other side, rotates no problem. So really limited movement here, and if you can actually pop this figure apart, you can actually see the inner workings of this. We do have a single ball joint right here. And then something I actually discovered by accident is that her abdomen piece here is just a floating piece of plastic. The only attachment is a U-joint right here where the ball joint connects into. So if you were to actually connect it, you can see she would have a lot of range if it wasn't for this. Now, you can actually fix it by cutting some plastic away from the top right here, but yeah, that's just showing that they have the right idea with the engineering. They just didn't execute it properly because Brandi has really limited movement with the abdomen piece there, and then that only gives her a swivel. We don't have a second ball joint here, unfortunately. Legs, like all the male figures, you have to go out to the side just to get it to go all the way to 90, and then you can rotate her hip to get it looking flush, so there is that. Legs go out to the side. The worst out of the bunch that we've seen, and then we do have a thigh swivel, which is really stiff on mine, but it is there. We do have a double bend in the knee, which is the best we've seen so far. I really do like that. She does have a swivel here at the, well, not the mid boot, but the calf. Then we have a hinge in the ankle, which goes back. Then we have one that goes forward, and then it's not really forward-facing pin, it's just rotation here at the foot. So overall, Brandi here has some really nice articulation. It's not the best, but it will suffice for her being a manager, so I guess that's perfectly okay. So, with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get her posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have Brandi Rhodes posed for my final thoughts, and overall, I do like the way this figure came out. Don't get me wrong, there's things to like about this figure. But being the first female figure, I feel like there's a few more details they could have added, mainly with her attire being completely sculpted rather than just the upper torso. I know they plan on using this torso for other female figures down the line, but it would have been nice to have a dedicated sculpt for Brandi here. Now, they have a dedicated sculpt for some of the other figures, so I don't know why Brandi didn't get a dedicated sculpt. Hopefully moving forward in the line, Wicked Cool Toys does implement unique sculpts for all the female figures. I think that is a must-have for every toy line, unique sculpts for female figures. But overall, despite the fact she doesn't really come with anything, I still like the way the figure came out. Mine, unfortunately, is just plagued by quality control with the paint. I mean, you guys saw how the face is off to the right side, and it's not a big deal if you're looking at it from a distance, but looking up close, yeah, it is something you guys can really notice, and that is really unfortunate. Now, if you are looking for Brandi Rhodes here, she is actually the hardest one to find, and from what I heard, she's actually short-packed, so you're going to get one Brandi Rhodes in a case of, like, 2, so that is really unfortunate that they did short out on Brandi Rhodes here, seeing as how it's the first female in the line, and they did make her kind of hard to come by. If you're lucky enough to find her at retail, you are going to end up paying $20, and you will find the Unrivaled collection at your local Walmarts or on Ringside Collectibles, where I picked mine up. So with that out of the way, guys, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel, go check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other AEW videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it's in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.